Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and guess what? Another Netflix film, except I did watch this on Netflix. And I watched Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle. And I remember when this first was announced, I was super excited to see Andy Serkis directed Jungle Book. And I'm like, this could be cool, I really want to see what Andy Serkis does with it. And then Disney's Jungle Book came out and blew me out of the water. I'm kind of like, ooh, it's going to be a hard sell. Really hard sell. And I'm like, how many people are going to be going to see another Jungle Book movie now? And I wasn't surprised when Netflix bought it, and I'm like, great. Wasn't super excited about the fact that it was going to be winding up on Netflix, because this kind of film seems like it would be something that you want to see on a big screen. And the film was hit or miss. I'll say, like, in short, this film was enjoyable watch. I didn't feel like I was checked out from start to finish, but I have to say there's a lot of positives that get outweighed by a lot of negatives, and it winds up being very middle of the road overall. Andy Serkis as the director, the pacing zips by, and I think there are some moments where the story zipped by too quickly and didn't allow certain plot points to really settle in and the characters to grow the way that it was supposed to. But I never felt bored watching this film, and I think that was important for this film. And from an emotional standpoint, there's some very tense moments that really hit, and that's where the tonal shifts. Because there are some funny moments, there's some really, really dark, intense moments, but it doesn't do a very good job of smoothly going between those kinds of tones, and things feel out of place, and it doesn't feel like a cohesive tone and atmosphere throughout the film. If this film went really dark and avoided some of the more childish humor, maybe it would have worked. Or maybe, like, it couldn't have gone completely zany and fun but yet emotional, because it's like that's exactly what the other Jungle Book was that came out not that long ago. So this film had a tough go at trying to be something different, and didn't go, I don't think went full-blown into being a much darker adaptation, because there were moments where it did feel like, oh, it's still trying to be a kid's movie. Because inherently, a little kid living in the jungle, playing with talking animals, you would think kids. This film's really not for kids, because there's some really dark, gruesome moments of violence, and those are the moments that worked best for me, because I felt like that's what this film was really trying to go for and trying to work. And I feel like maybe there was some confusion over who this was supposed to be marketed towards, because if it was going to be a success, it needed family support because it's a big budgeted film. And this doesn't quite have that. I wouldn't necessarily show a kid a lot of the moments in this film. There's some just gruesome stuff. But Andy Serkis does a fine job directing it. I haven't been a huge fan of what he has directed. They seem pretty flawed films. So I don't know if he necessarily should continue this streak of being the director fully of a film. Maybe really working on the visual effects and the motion capture, because that was on point in this film. The CGI at moments was amazing, and at other moments it wasn't the greatest. You could tell you're watching something fake. But the thing is, how they animated the animals I thought was really impressive, and the story was all over the place. There were story moments that I thought really worked and was intriguing, but this film was trying to do too much, trying to balance too much, and it didn't all come together. It felt the complete opposite of the original Jungle Book animated film, where it was just like meandering and aimless. This film, I felt like it was trying to accomplish too much, and it didn't really balance it well. And keep comparing it to the other Jungle Book film made by Disney, the live action one, but that really balanced things well and had a coherent story and had a through point story. And this did, but had a bunch of other stuff, trying to put subplots and threads throughout the film, trying to get all these things together. And Callie Cloves doesn't really have a super strong script to go along with this film, but some of the other positives, the Nitin Salni's score for this film is great. It really captures that Indian vibe of the locale of this film, and it's a very intense and beautiful score. I thought that really worked for the film. And Michael Sarrazin's cinematography I thought was really good too, and how they captured everything. And there's some beautiful shots, most of it animated to be perfectly honest, but it was still really beautifully shot film. Now, the acting, I want to make sure that I get his name right. Rohan Chand, who plays Mowgli, is great. I thought he was a better young actor than the young actor in the Disney Jungle Book. He really carried some really dark, heavy scenes in this film. But the vocal cast is amazing. Cate Blanchett playing Kaa has a lot more to do in this film, and also does the narration, so I'm like, I'm watching Lord of the Rings again, with this opening narration done by her, which, a little fun thing for myself. But Bagheera, Christian Bale brought a lot of emotion to Bagheera. Andy Serkis' Baloo goes in a very different route. He has like Cockney accent, just a really big bear talking in a Cockney accent, and it was a very different Baloo. But I liked it. It took me a little bit to get used to the accent, but I thought it worked. It wasn't like the big lazy bear like Baloo or Bill Murray. It's like, bears don't hibernate in the jungle, Baloo. It's like, no, but we nap. We nap a lot. Yeah, it's not that Baloo. It's a very different Baloo. It's a more mature Baloo, but I think it works. And Andy Serkis, for this Baloo, did a good job. But who I really, really loved, oh my, was Benedict Cumberbatch as Shere Khan. He was just eating it up. And he went all in. He felt like Shere Khan from the original animated film. And just felt like villainy, and he really took it on, and he was intimidating and scary in like a campy fun way. He wasn't like Idris Elba in the other Jungle Book was super intense and scary in that way. Shere Khan in this was just like villainy, and like his voice just oozed villainy charisma, and I loved it. Benedict Cumberbatch was great. Overall, this film is really hit or miss, and winds up in summation, kind of middle of the road. But what benefits this is that it is a Netflix film. So take an hour and 45 minutes to check it out on Netflix. If you have Netflix already, you don't have to pay for it. So it's an easier recommendation for me. Don't show this to kids though. This is really intense and scary at moments, and I think it would scare kids. So that's the thing. So I don't know who this is really made for, but it kind of worked for me, and it might kind of work for you. Maybe just not your kids. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. If you've seen Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, comment. Let me know your thoughts. And let's talk some movies, and thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.